In Excel, there's an option to auto-format a cell which has not yet been formatted. We can see that our cell B4 is formatted as general. So as you can expect, if I would type in a value, it simply enters the value with no special formatting. But instead, where most of us, most often, we would format this cell in advance by going up to the ribbon and formatting it, we can type in a dollar symbol, followed by the number, including the number of decimal places that we want to be displayed in this cell. When we press enter, it keeps the formatting, and as we click on this cell, you can see that the dollar symbol is only a format. It is not content of this cell. To test this, I can type in another number. So if I type in a 4, it takes on the formatting. And then, as we can imagine, I can use this in a formula when I multiply the two together, and it works fine. So the auto formatting works well when you're on a computer that is set for your local region and language settings. But what if you want to do this for international settings? So I'm set to the North American English, and an example would be if we wanted to do some international currency, and the example that we're doing here is the rupee. In this case, it doesn't work as easily. If I type in the rupee symbol, actually I had to insert the symbol because it's not available from my keyboard, followed by the value, you can see in my formula bar that the rupee symbol is actually content. Because it's not recognized as a currency symbol according to my computer settings, it is treated as text. It automatically became left aligned, which is my first hint that this may be text. And as I entered a formula, including that value, it failed because it is considered as text. So there's a way around that we can work if you're working with international settings. There is a permanent change that can be made back in the control panel, or go to region and languages. You can change it permanently, but in some cases that's too permanent because you're still working with your international settings and you're asked to supply a file with some different settings. So there's a way that we can work around this. If I would type in a number 10 here and type in 4, and I'm simply going to multiply the two cells together. But of course the issue is that we're not certain that this is currency. So instead of doing the auto formatting, we're going to go back to a more traditional method. We select the two cells which we want to format. We click on the drop down, the dialog box launcher in the number formatting group. We'll click on that. We can go to currency. And as we go to currency, we can now choose which symbol we want to use. We can, of course, also choose the number of decimal places. But we choose the symbol that we want to use. And I'm doing this in reverse with a North American computer, but I'm going to choose English India as we're trying to display the rupee symbol, and I will press OK. Now that is a number. I look in my formula bar. It is there's no symbol included there, so it is treated as a number, which means that my calculations will also work. So if you are not able or don't wish to do the permanent change in region and languages, you can find your way around it by doing exactly what I've done here. And just one more alternate method. What if I wanted it to be formatted as close to accounting as I could do on an English North American computer? I can click the drop down, go to accounting, and just like before, choose my symbol in here and press OK. And there it is, formatted very similarly, but with accounting formatting. There's a couple other options for other auto formats. One would be a percentage and the other is a date. And again, we can confirm that both of these cells are formatted as general. So if I type in 5% and press enter, from that point on, that has been auto-formatted as percentage, and unless I clear the formatting, I can simply type in a value, type in a 4, and it now becomes 4%. Type in a 2.5, and it becomes 3%, because I have not shown enough decimal places. So I can use a combination of auto-formatting and then still tweak it with the number of decimal places here if I wish. Another one which may be helpful, but also sometimes confusing, is the date. And just a reminder, since we're talking about international settings, you must enter a date in the same format in which it shows in the bottom right corner. So the same format as your computer is set. You can format it to be displayed differently, but as far as entering it, it must honor the same settings that we have on our computer. Mine is set for month, day, year. Normally, if I'm entering the current year, I do not need to enter the year. It will assume that it's the default year. So sometimes I get a bad habit and I will type in 11/04 and I call that good. I know that normally I don't need to type in the /2020. I press enter, but because auto formatting is at work, it has formatted this with a custom format. From this point on, anytime I type in another date value, 12/31/2020, and press enter, it will format it without the year because of my oversight at the beginning. However, if I would have come here originally and said 11/04/2020, pressed enter, it now takes on the format that I had expected, and from this point on, 12/31, enter, is displayed as you might expect it to be. So the date can be a friend and it can be a foe. You decide which method you want to use. Do you want to auto format, or do you want to type a value in and then come back later and format it as it should have been? So what works for local settings may not work as well for international settings. We were able to prove that back here with the international currency, but there certainly is a workaround where we can simply type in the values and or formulas, then come up and format by choosing one of the options in the dialog box.